Today we're going to talk about adding and subtracting integers using visual representation. So your I can statement for your table of contents today is I can add and subtract integers by drawing visual representations. So let's see, adding and subtracting integers visually. It says make sure to follow the subtraction rules. Subtracting rational numbers is very similar to adding rational numbers. We can change subtraction expressions into an addition expression and solve. So what does that mean? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about basically doing the opposite of what it's offering. So right here it is A minus B. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to look for kind of the opposite of this part here. So the opposite would be A, instead of subtraction, would be plus, and instead of a positive B would be a negative B. So let's talk about that again. We're doing the opposite, okay? So A minus B, let's just say it was very difficult for you to understand. Let's say B was way bigger than A and you were just super confused. So what you can do, this is a rule that you can do. You can keep A the same and then you can change the subtraction to addition, except if you do that, you must change the second one to the opposite. So if it's positive here, it's going to be negative here. Let's look at this one also, kind of the same concept. A minus a negative B. So we talked about this before. If you have a subtraction and a negative next to each other, what you can do is you can turn them into addition. All right? So A plus a positive B. What we did in the last video was we took this and turned it into a positive, right? So A plus B, A plus B. Whenever you have a letter and there's nothing in front of it, so like this A right here, it's positive, right? We don't have to put a plus symbol in front of positive numbers. We just know it's positive. When we put a negative symbol in front of something, then we know it's negative. If there's no symbol in front of it, then we know it's a positive. So over here, it's the same thing as what we did in the last lesson. Instead of having a minus and a minus next to each other, we brought it, flipped it over, and made it a plus sign, right? So they're showing you that we did the same thing here, A plus a positive B, basically. So instead of getting rid of the negative. All right, so let's do some examples. So how would we change number one? Negative 6 minus 4. Well, if you look, it's a subtraction problem. So we're going to come up here. We're going to come up here to a subtraction of a positive number. The 4 is positive. The B is positive. So we're going to do that. So we're going to keep the first one the same. The A is still the A. So negative 6. But then instead of subtraction, we're going to make it addition. And then instead of a positive B, we made it a negative B. So instead of a positive 4, we're going to make it a negative 4. Let's look at number 2's option. Same thing. So hopefully you've got this one. We're going to keep the A as 8. Instead of subtraction, we're going to flip it and make it a plus addition. And then instead of a positive B, we made it a negative B. So 12 becomes a negative 12. Let's look at the next one. Okay, now look, they're switching sides. We've got a subtraction and a negative, a subtraction and a negative. So we need to be looking at this side now. Negative 2 will stay the same because the A doesn't change. The subtraction becomes an addition, and the negative 5 will become a positive 5. So I'm just going to put 5. Because we know positive. So let's try this one. 7 minus negative 3. The A stays the same. The sign that we're using changes to addition, and then it becomes a positive 3. All right, so here's an example that we're going to do, and you're going to be doing these on your project page. It's going to say example, picture, answer. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use two different colors to do this one because it helps with my pictures. The first thing is the example. We're gonna change the numbers here to make it work for us. So instead of doing a subtraction problem, I'm gonna let's flip it to the addition problem. So really it's gonna be 4 plus a -8. So this is gonna be the problem I'm gonna do because the first thing I had to do is switch it. Let's draw a picture of what that will look like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw 4 positive symbols. The way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna do 4 plus signs. Okay? Now, then I'm gonna do negatives 8 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've made 8 negatives. Now the way to answer this, and again, we're drawing pictures of this problem. You might have been already able to do this in your head, 4 minus 8 or 4 plus a -8. You might have already been able to do that. I'm showing you another way to do this to help for maybe if you are still confused with how to use a number line to answer a subtraction problem or addition problem. Okay, so what you're gonna do now is we're gonna cross out a positive with a negative. You cannot cross out a negative without a positive and a positive without a negative. They go together. So if I get rid of one positive, I can get rid of one negative. I have to do them together. If I get rid of another positive, I have to get rid of another negative. Positive, negative, positive, negative. Oh, I have no more positives. So what I have left here are 4 negatives. So that tells me my answer is -1, 2, 3, 4. My answer is -4. 4 minus 8 is -4. 4 plus a -8 is -4. All right, so let's look at your practice page. When you do this on your own, you're gonna be doing the same stuff here. So you've got your problems that you're gonna first switch using the rules, okay? Now, I do see that there's one here with an addition. So guess what? They're making it easier for you. You don't have to change this one. We are only changing the subtraction ones. It says make sure to follow the subtraction rules, okay? Subtracting is very similar to adding. So what you're gonna do, you need to change this one, and you need to change that one, and you definitely need to change that one, but look at that, they already gave you this one changed. So once you change those other 3, you then move on to the picture to do your positives and your negatives. So 1, 2, 3, 4 positives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negatives, and then you start crossing them out, and that will leave you with what your answer is that you will put there. Okay, so go ahead and do that now.